I'm Whitley, I'm 33 years old, and I find money other people hide for a living. Missing inheritances, forgotten trusts, hidden assets buried behind shell companies and fake paperwork. If someone spent years concealing wealth, there's a good chance I'm the person hired to uncover it. Which is why it's almost funny that the biggest secret ever hidden from me wasn't money, it was my own eviction. And the person hiding it was my mother. I came home on a Thursday afternoon after a 3-day audit in Phoenix. The heat was brutal 110 degrees. The kind of heat that turns steering wheels into branding irons and makes the air shimmer above the pavement. I was exhausted. All I wanted was a shower, dinner, and to tuck my 4-year-old daughter, Maisie, into bed. Instead, I pulled into my mother's driveway and nearly drove into a pile of my own belongings. At first, I thought we'd been robbed. Boxes sat on the front lawn. Garbage bags filled with clothes were stacked beside the porch. My coffee table was lying on its side. Maisie's stuffed rabbit was face down in the dirt. Then I noticed something else. The lock, the old brass deadbolt, was gone. A shiny keypad lock had replaced it. I stared at it for several seconds. My brain refused to process what I was seeing. Then my phone buzzed. A text message from my mother. "Your room is your brother's now. Come get your things." That was it. No explanation, no warning, no apology. Just 14 words ending my housing situation. I sat frozen behind the steering wheel. Maisie was asleep in her car seat. Her little sneakers were sitting near the front door. The solace had partially melted from sitting in the heat all day. And suddenly I couldn't breathe, because I realized my mother hadn't just locked me out. She'd locked out her granddaughter too. 3 years earlier, I'd moved in temporarily after my divorce. "Just until you're back on your feet," Mom had said. At the time, I believed her. The arrangement worked surprisingly well. I paid utilities, bought groceries, handled repairs. I even paid property taxes twice when my mother claimed she was short on money. I wasn't freeloading, I was helping keep the house running. Meanwhile, my younger brother Derek drifted through life like a leaf in a swimming pool. 31 years old, no stable job, no savings, no responsibilities, but Mom adored him. Derek could crash a motorcycle into a mailbox and somehow become the victim. If I got a promotion, Mom would ask why I wasn't spending more time with family. Nothing was ever enough. Still, I tolerated it. Because family is complicated, and because Maisie loved her grandmother. Or at least she thought she did. When I called Mom that afternoon, she answered immediately. "Oh, you're back, as if she hadn't just detonated my life." "What is this?" I demanded. "I told you Derek needed space." "You never told me I was being evicted. You were supposed to understand." "Understand what? That family comes first." I actually laughed, a sharp, ugly laugh. "Apparently not all family." She sighed dramatically. "You always make everything difficult." Then she hung up. That night, Maisie and I checked into a hotel. She cried because she wanted her pink blanket. It was somewhere inside one of 40 garbage bags dumped on the lawn. I spent hours searching. When I finally found it, she was asleep. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed and cried silently. Not because of the house, because of the betrayal. Because someone who claimed to love us had treated us like unwanted furniture. And because I knew this wasn't really about Derek. Something else was happening. I just didn't know what, yet. The answer arrived 2 weeks later, through pure accident, or maybe fate. My work specializes in tracing hidden assets. One afternoon, I was reviewing public property records for a client when I noticed something familiar, my mother's address. At first, I assumed it was coincidence, then I clicked, and everything changed. The house wasn't solely in Mom's name, it never had been. My grandfather's estate still held partial ownership. A trust controlled the remaining interest. And according to the records, beneficiaries included both Mom's children. Me and Derek. I stared at the screen. Then I opened more documents, and more hours passed. The deeper I dug, the worse it became. Years earlier, Grandpa had established a trust requiring equal distribution of assets. The house couldn't legally be transferred to one child without the other's consent. Which meant something very important. Mom had promised Derek something she didn't actually own. The next week I met with an attorney. I carried a folder thick enough to stop a bullet. Trust documents, tax records, property filings, correspondence. The attorney reviewed everything, then smiled. Your mother has a problem. I blinked. What kind of problem? The expensive kind. When legal notices arrived at the house, Derek called me first. Screaming, apparently Mom had assured him the property would be his. Forever, no complications. No questions, no paperwork, just his. Now attorneys were involved, trust administrators were involved. And suddenly everyone wanted answers. Funny how that works. Months later, we sat in mediation. Mum looked furious. Derek looked terrified. I looked prepared. Because, unlike them, I'd actually read the documents, every single page. The mediator asked Mum why she'd remove me from the property. Her answer was incredible. I thought it would be easier. As if forcing a single mother and her child into a hotel was merely a scheduling adjustment. Then she said something I'll never forget. I didn't think she'd fight back. The room went quiet. Even Derek looked uncomfortable. Because there it was, the truth. She hadn't expected resistance. She expected obedience. The same obedience she demanded my entire life. The settlement took 6 months. When it ended, the trust was enforced exactly as my grandfather intended. Equal treatment, equal rights, equal distribution. Not favoritism, not manipulation, not emotional blackmail. The law didn't care who Mum loved more, and that drove her crazy. In the end, I received a substantial financial settlement connected to the estate. Enough for a down payment on a beautiful home. Enough to build stability for Maisie, enough to start over. The best part happened on move-in day. Maisie ran through the front door carrying her stuffed rabbit. Her own room waited upstairs, purple walls, bookshelves. A small reading corner beside the window. She spun in circles laughing. This is our house. I knelt beside her, yes. Nobody can make us leave. My heart broke. Because no child should have to ask that question, I pulled her into a hug. No, sweetheart, she smiled, then raced upstairs. And for the first time in months, I felt peace. Mum tried calling eventually, not to apologize, to complain. Apparently, the legal battle had strained relationships. Apparently, Derek blamed her. Apparently, family gatherings felt awkward. Imagine that. She asked if he could move forward. I told her something simple. You changed the locks on a 4-year-old. Silence. Then she said she was sorry if my feelings were hurt. Not sorry for what she'd done, sorry for how I felt. Classic. I wished her well and ended the call. That was 2 years ago. We haven't spoken since. People often ask whether I regret pursuing the case, whether it was worth the conflict. Whether family should be handled differently. My answer is always the same. Family isn't a free pass. Love isn't ownership. And being someone's mother doesn't give you the right to throw away their child. The locksmith probably forgot that day entirely. To him, it was another job, install a keypad. Collect payment, drive away. But for me, it was the moment everything changed. Because the morning my mother changed the locks, she thought she was taking something from me. A home, security, a future. What she actually did was expose a secret she'd hidden for years. And unlike her, I'm very good at finding things people try to hide, especially when they're worth a fortune.